Hello! So today I'm going to be talking about getting clarity on what you want to do and the first part of the soul aligned method. And basically this week I'm going to do a series of lives walking you through the full method, truly like full stop, all out, all the information. So I hope this is going to be super valuable to you. So the first step in the alignment of getting clarity on what you want really truly is alignment to your self-worth, right? And it actually used to be alignment to your purpose, but actually before that and during the whole thing, it's alignment to that level of self-worth that you need in order to be in your dream career, right? Because the identity of you who has that career has a very high level of self-worth. They trust in themselves, their creative ideas. They trust themselves to go out and for me, I apologize about the connection, by the way, if I cut out. For me, the bridge, the gap there was just that like I could only see myself in corporate. I hadn't expanded myself enough, expanded my self-worth enough to see myself outside of corporate. And I actually didn't want to be in corporate. I wanted a business, but I had no idea like how to even get myself there, right? Which has to do with your subconscious self-worth. So alignment to your self-worth is the first thing. You have to be able to see that's possible for you. And it doesn't have to be this super strong, like, oh my God, I know I'm going to have this. I know I'm going to like make this career successful at first, right? It's just, if there were no bounds, then what kind of career, what kind of life also do I want to build for myself? Because I talk about career as a whole person, right? It's not just your job. It's like the work that you do, the impact that you make, the people that you're working with, the relationships in your life, the type of lifestyle that you live. That's all within your dream career. That's all related to your dream career. So when we talk about alignment to self-worth, we have to begin to see that it is freaking possible for ourselves. And then we can take the next step. I think another part of the fallacy here is that like, oh, I need to feel so confident before I can continue, right? When in reality, confidence only happens when you have courage, when you take courageous steps over and over and over and over again. So the very first step truly is feeling into that self-worth and opening that tiny door, that tiny sliver of possibility. So the next question you probably have is like, how do I raise my self-worth, right? How do I raise my subconscious self-worth and begin to see that is possible for me? And that's a question that I get a lot of times because I kind of like dive in head first and make all these bold claims. So just a little bit of basic psychology. So our actions are actually run by our subconscious. And our subconscious minds are primarily programmed in a young age. So from the ages of 0 to 7 to up till 14, depending on how your brain develops, or if you have a really emotionally impactful moment, right? Positive or negative. And when we're in our younger ages, our brain is still developing, so the door to our subconscious is wide open, and any information that we receive, any information that comes in, goes straight into our subconscious. So if someone ever told you, like, oh, you're not smart, or you're not good at this, especially over and over again as a young age, or even you observed it being told to someone else, it goes into your subconscious. And this is why often we feel super stuck, right? I remember when I was young, I just didn't see any examples of the type of artists that I wanted to be. And therefore, and I grew up in a super competitive environment. So that combined with the competitiveness, that really programmed my self-worth at the time, right? To only believe that it was possible for me to follow this like rigid corporate structure and that I would only be accepted in the structure. So Self-worth also has to do a lot with just the level of safety that you feel inside, the level of safety that you feel in order to pursue your dreams, right? Which of course is perceived as risky, because it wouldn't be your dream career if like it was that easy to get there. That's not the hero's journey. It's like we want to experience something epic in life. And that does mean taking risks. That does mean doing things that we're afraid of. And your nervous system has to be calibrated enough to be able to go out and take those risks. So at a young age, when our subconscious self-worth is programmed, right, which we have no control over, when we're growing up, we don't have any control over our environment. That's what builds those beliefs in the present moment, where it's like, okay, I'm in my 9 to 5, I'm in marketing, and suddenly I can't see a pathway outside of that. Even though deep in my soul, I want something greater, I want something else. And then we feel super stuck. And then it's like, fuck, I don't know what I want to do, right? Because on one level, we know we don't want what we currently think is possible for us. And then we can't see beyond that. We can't see beyond that and see what we really want. And then you don't have clarity. You don't know where to go. So that's why the first step is the inner. It is alignment to that self-worth. It's the inner transformation to the outer transformation. And when I fell chronically ill in 2017 and then healed, found the path to healing, the way that I reprogrammed my subconscious was through meditation. And that is a large part of the method, the actual method that I use in the soul aligned framework, which if you want to get a taste of, Rebirth Workshop is still free. You can find the link in my bio and actually get a taste of what meditation in terms of subconscious reprogramming is like, right? Because often when we think of meditation, we think of relaxation, but there are so many other uses, possibilities, right? Connection to source that we can tap into from meditation. And why I like meditation is because, first of all, there's 2 ways to reprogram your subconscious. One is repetition, and the other is emotional impact. That's why you see a lot of new age manifestations, write the affirmation 100 times, right? Or visualize every day. For me, with meditation, it's a way to have the repetition, but also the emotional impact, because the door of our subconscious is wide open. When we start focusing, we actually drop into a lower brainwave state, and that's where the subconscious lives, right? This sort of hypnotic state where we can begin to reprogram our brain. And then we bring in a new emotion. We allow ourselves to process the old emotion, the fear that is stopping most people, and reprogram the memories that are stopping us. When we're young, we want to, for example, please our parents, right? That's where we get our love. And that can stop us in moving forward with our goals if we're prioritizing that ahead of what's possible for us in the future. So when I do subconscious reprogramming, it's a combination of really alchemizing the past, alchemizing any emotion in the present, and then tuning into that emotion of the future. But really what I see, what's missing in New Age manifestation is that part of meeting yourself in the moment, right? And alchemizing the past, which is inner child shadow work, if you've heard of that. But essentially what it is okay, we take those traumatic moments and you might not even realize it was traumatic for you, right? But now it's in your subconscious mind, and it's that one little voice that's stopping you from going after what you really want. So we reprogram that, and then in the moment, as we're taking those steps, if you ever feel that feeling of almost hopelessness, or oh yeah, there's no way I can do that, that's when, again, we do the subconscious reprogramming work. We meet ourselves in the moment. Because let me tell you, every time you hit a new growth edge, you're going to go through that. You're going to go through these emotions. So mastering this is super, super important. And then we can begin to actually move forward. Because the only thing that's in between you and that amazing, massive dream career is you taking consistent action towards your biggest vision, right? Instead of being paralyzed between what you know and what you can't really see yet, what you think is not possible for you. So building that self-worth is really the bridge, the first step when you don't know like anything about what you want next. Because when I ask people like, what do you really want? Like, it's amazing things, right? It's like, oh, I want to like live in a van and like go around America, or like go around and build a tiny house or something like that. And it's like, that's super cool, right? Where it's like, I want to make movies, I want to make films, I want to be in fashion, all this stuff. And it's like, okay, now we're beginning to admit what we really want. And often the gap here is just like, oh, it's not realistic, right? Again, bring it back to knowing what's possible for us. You have to begin to actually start to see that it is realistic. It is realistic. And it starts with the internal. It starts with finding people who are doing what you want to do, who are inspiring to you, and surrounding yourself with them. Which is also changing your subconscious. Because then you begin to build a bridge between like, oh, I've actually talked to them. They're not that different from me. You know, I actually know their story. Now I can build a path versus thinking that it's some far away thing that is totally not achievable, that's totally unrealistic for you. And when I talk about career, dream career, I'm talking about the most amazing thing in your life that you could ever imagine. That's what I want for you. Because that's what I'm going for myself, right? That's what I know is possible for myself. And it's like, yes, there's steps. Yes, we can build a bridge. But ultimately, what I want to get you to a place of is knowing that you can go for the ultimate level of fulfillment, of success, of happiness. Okay, so this is part 1 of the Soul Align Method, alignment in your self-worth. I hope you found it valuable. I'm going to do these lives this whole week and teach you the full method and really show you what is the real way to not only discover, right? Discover and design the dreamiest of dream careers in alignment with our purpose, in alignment with the impact that we want to make. And how can we actually start moving towards it? Which is the more difficult thing. And they're actually just one full continuous process. And the reason why we start with the inner is because it takes enormous amount of trust and courage. So later on this week, I'm going to be talking about action. I'm going to talk about how do we get in tune with our values, with our purpose. Okay, how do we overcome like imposter syndrome, procrastination, right? Laziness.